guys, welcome back to another session, 30-day Ramadan series. We are very excited, as I say in every single series. So let's, we can get into it. We're going to go through some surahs today, so you'll see exactly which ones we'll get into. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe below. Let us know your thoughts. You can join us. Make sure you keep following the Unveiled Mindset Instagram page. We'll post exactly when we're going live, so that if you want to join the conversation, you're free to do so.
Yep. And join the Discord in the descriptions if you want to be part of it and participate.
Sounds good. Let's get started.
Al-Infitar, the sky splitting open, is chapter 82 in the Quran. This Meccan chapter was revealed during the early period of Muhammad's prophethood, peace be upon him, and is connected thematically to other surahs, such as Surah Al-Takwir, Al-Inshiqaq, and Al-Naza'at, that mention some of the horrors of the Day of Judgment. The chapter has three overarching themes. Verses 1 through 5 highlight the horrific signs of the final hour, followed by a reproach and warning from Allah to humanity for their ingratitude in verses 6 through 12, concluded by the contrast on that day between those who are good and those who are evil in verses 13 through 19. Allah begins the chapter by describing apocalyptic scenes that are meant to shake the human being to realize the reality of the Day of Judgment. إِذَا السَّمَاءُ انْفَطَرَتْ, when the sky splits open. وَإِذَا الْكَوَاكِبُ انْتَثَرَتْ, and when the stars fall away. وَإِذَا الْبِحَارُ فُجِّرَتْ, and when the seas burst forth. وَإِذَا الْكُبُورُ بُعْثِرَتْ, and when the graves spill out, describing the scenes when all of humanity will be resurrected, coming out of their graves in preparation for the Day of Judgment. عَلِمَتْ نَفْسٌ مَا قَدَّمَتْ وَأَخَّرَتْ, then each soul will know what it has sent forth or left behind. Allah then addresses humanity and the ingratitude they've shown towards Him. يَا أَيُّهَا الْإِنسَانُ مَا غَرَّكَ بِرَبِّكَ الْكَرِيمِ, O humanity, what has emboldened you against your Lord, the most generous? الَّذِي خَلَقَكَ فَسَوَّاكَ فَعَدَلَكَ, who created you, fashioned you, and perfected your design. فِي أَيِّ سُورَةٍ مَا شَاءَ رَكَّبَكَ, molding you in whatever form He willed. كَلَّا بَلْ تُكَذِّبُونَ بِالدِّينِ, but no, in fact, you deny the final judgment. Allah is speaking to humanity for not recognizing all that He has given us and blessed us with, how He created and molded us, how He does not punish us immediately after we sin, and gives us an opportunity to turn back to Him and repent. And yet, even with all that, somehow, we still deny the reality of the Day of Judgment. Allah then reminds us of His angels that are recording every single thing we say and do, without missing a single detail. وَإِنَّ عَلَيْكُمْ لَحَافِظِينَ كِرَامًا كَاتِبِينَ, while you are certainly observed by vigilant, honorable angels recording everything. يَعْلَمُونَ مَا تَفْعَلُونَ, they know whatever you do. Allah then warns us of the consequences of those deeds. إِنَّ الْأَبْرَارَ لَفِي نَعِيمٍ, indeed the virtuous will be in bliss. وَإِنَّ الْفُجَّارَ لَفِي جَحِيمٍ, and the wicked will be in hell. يَصْلَوْنَهَا يَوْمَ الدِّينِ, burning in it on Judgment Day. وَمَا هُمْ عَنْهَا بِغَائِبِينَ, and they will have no escape from it. Allah then concludes the chapter, questioning humanity, and if they truly comprehend the gravity of this day, and the weight of our deeds and actions, which will determine our eternal fate. وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا يَوْمُ الدِّينِ, what will make you realize what Judgment Day is? ثُمَّ مَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا يَوْمُ الدِّينِ, again, what will make you realize what Judgment Day is? يَوْمَ لَا تَمْلِكُ نَفْسٌ لِنَفْسٍ شَيْئًا وَالْأَمْرُ يَوْمَئِذٍ لِلَّهِ, It is the day no soul will be of any benefit to another whatsoever, for all authority on that day belongs to Allah entirely. Help us create more videos.
Whew. Yep. That was my people, we here?
We're here.
This nigga funny, bro. I swear to God.
So what do we make of that? Did anything stand out
Scary.
to y'all?
The signs of the.
Yeah. Good. Whoever's gonna go first.
Go ahead, get it.
No. Y'all got it.
No, go ahead. Don't make you feel bad.
Bro, Mo, you got anybody to say it.
You're not go ahead, bro.
No. I was just saying, like, it's scary. Like, just thinking about, like, the last days and stuff, and the signs that we're supposed to look out for.
Okay, before
And
we
stuff for the day of judgment.
Yeah, let me give a little bit of context too, because I think sometimes, like, you're listening to like a story, sometimes you might just kind of go into gaze a little bit or whatever, or like, not gaze, but phase a little bit. This is 82, right? Yeah. Hey, let me know how you say the surah name again. Okay, surah 82 primarily focuses on. Okay, so it primarily
Isn't
focuses.
that iftar? Go.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
That's okay. It primarily focused on the event of the Day of Judgment and the hereafter, emphasized the consequence and the actions, and the inevitability of reckoning. Here's more details breakdown. The theme is the central theme of Surah Al. Is it in Iftar? In Iftar?
Infitar.
Okay. In the hereafter and the events that will unfold on Day of Judgment. Key event described. The surah described events like the splitting of the sky, the scattering of the stars, and the bursting of the seas, and the upheaval of graves, and all of which are signs of the judgment day. Accountability. The surah emphasized that each soul will know what it has sent forth and left behind, highlighting the importance of action and their consequence. Then they have guardian angel. The surah mentioned that the guardian angel who records the deed of humans, emphasized the comprehensive nature of records. Divine justice. The surah underscores the idea that no one will be able to help another on the day of judgment, and the decision will be solely with Allah. Virtuous and wicked. The surah contrasts the fate of the righteous, who will be in the bliss, with that of wicked, who will be in hellfire. Revelation, Surah 82 was revealed in Mecca, most probably during the early days of Muhammad's proclamation of the prophethood. So that is the context of the story, and then we can kind of...
One thing that I will say as well is, as we, given the last conversation that we had, as we do research and stuff like that for the context, it'd be interested to source where that context is coming from. You get what I'm saying?
For the context.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's that's the context that we found upon like searching it just now, but there may be either so much more or something, additional, whatever, just to kind of take into consideration what we just discussed. But
I usually use the Quran.com. Do anybody else uses that? Because they also have explanation.
Yeah, I'll be using that too.
Okay.
yeah. But I'm saying, like, in terms of like our own like understanding of like, hadith so and so actually says this more of it, or more of this, or like this comes from like this. I mean, there are things that are general knowledge that it might just write and it may not say where things are from, but that in itself, to search that takes a lot more time than we have right now.
This one, if you go to Quran, so they have 3 different sources here. You see, Ibn Kathir, Ma'arif, Al, whatever, and then they have this. There's 3 different ones. But yeah, I use Me and Numso app. What? Oh
yes, that's
okay.
That's the Janabu, exactly. But
yeah. So
overall,
I think this is a tough series. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, kind of what Jenna said, like it's very scary and intense, and it is something, to continuously remember. One thing that resonated with me is because in the video he went through all of the blessings that we have, right? That we may not think about on a daily basis, like our limbs, our eyes, our this, our that, like every single thing, right? And we're created, the way that each and every one of us is created was precisely designed by Allah. Yeah. And so just overall, like that kind of resonated with me, that aspect of like, we have all of these things and blessings of even just the way that right now we're all breathing. And I've said this before, like your heart is pumping blood without you even thinking about it or batting an eye, right? And that's something that like we're not even thankful for on a daily basis. And yet we go about our business, and some people, you know, become wicked and all this other stuff and just forget like to center themselves. Mm-hmm. So
I'll add on a little bit more. Like you say, it is very intensive, very descriptive. You know, the hellfire never fails to describe that. And also, like the title of the surah is the splitting of the sky, right? If I'm not mistaken, the splitting of the sky.
The title of the surah?
Do you know?
I think I saw it somewhere.
Let me just.
It was in a reading, right?
Yeah, I think the is.
The one that I have says the bursting asunder.
Oh, day of judgment, something like that.
This one
says the bursting asunder. But
yeah, the sky split and open. Okay,
yeah,
and I think we read one surah. I can't remember the name of it, and then they say earthquake. Like I think that one was talking about how the earth is gonna burst open and people like, you know. So it's like it's talking about both sides, how it can the earthquake is gonna happen, also the sky splitting open. So to me, like. It always go back to the yin and the yang, right? Like how we have the sun and the moon, the night and day, earth and the sky. You know, there's always like a correlation between everything that's like opposite of each other. But yeah, like primarily it's talking about the judgment and the hereafter, and also talk about the good deed and the bad deed. So, you know, everybody, you try to make sure that your good deed outweigh your bad deed moving forward, so you can have the best chance not going into hellfire and going into heaven. So to me, it's kind of more of one of those descriptive surah that's kind of telling you the judgment day, what to do or not to do. So that's what I got from it.
Another thing that stood out to me was just mentioning how Allah is the all-merciful. Like, although we sin, He still gives us time. He doesn't punish us immediately. He gives us time to repent and reflect. Mm-hmm. So I think that also stood out to me, besides everything else you guys already mentioned.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So true.
Like, imagine us, for example, right? Somebody will do you wrong, or somebody will do something that angers you, and boom, you just want to like be upset and yell at the person. You get what I'm saying? Like, even the most kind person, the most patient person, if they're bothered, they will still get to the point where they will be annoyed or just want to directly react, even if it takes them a while. So thinking about the most patient person you have ever known, who it takes them, when those people that they say it takes a lot for that person to get upset. Those people were like, wow, they're really patient people, right? Like, you know, they're cool and whatnot. So Allah is even beyond that. Like, so yeah, that is a huge part too.
Yeah, even the Prophet. He's known for being like the most patient people, but there were times where he responded harshly to some of the Quraysh.
No,
can I add something on there?
Yeah,
for the like mine too. So like I look at it like they mentioned what is it like? It says something like about like how Allah, you know, made us complete, like created us in a complete way, right? But people like still deny Judgment Day. I feel like that's what like the whole. It's like what Sung said too, like to kind of like not like a read. Well, the Quran is all like a redirection, but it's like telling people like why deny the Judgment Day if you're seeing, like also also said about the whole your heart breathing thing, like Allah like created this and stuff like that. And he also mentioned like Kiraman Kitab, like those like the recorders and stuff like that. Yeah. And like some people they just think like Allah doesn't see the things that like, you know, we do, like even in the dark, like Allah will see everything you do in the dark night, like while you in the ocean, like on a dark night, on a rainy night, anything you do, the littlest thing you do, like even in the Surah Qaf, Allah said, what is it? وَنَحْنُ أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ حَبْلِ الْوَرِيدِ. Like we're closer to you than your like jugular vein. You get what I'm saying? I feel like that's what I got from that. Like some people think they're like could get away or whatever the case may be, or like they think certain things doesn't happen, or they don't reflect on life in general, and they like deny like the whole judgment day. And then on that day, like Allah will make them. I think I said this the other day too, when I was like, some people when they what is the word? When they deny Allah's like, signs and stuff like that on the day of judgment, Allah will also like forget them, like type of thing. That's like it all comes in one to me. Like when I read certain surahs, like other surahs always like come back to me. It's all a reminder.
That was that was well said.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was well said.
Yeah, that closeness, like it's like, yeah, closer than you think. And that's a good point. Like people really like, you always have this feeling of okay, God is just up above and just sitting and just kind of watching down, and then like you feel so removed and so far removed and whatnot, like but to your point, like it's literally the presence of God is in every single thing. The presence of God is in the fact that our ability to our eyesight right now, like we're able to like see something right now, right? Or breathe or whatever. All of that is like because of God and the presence of God in your life. So I definitely think that's important.
But yeah. So that was good. So we're gonna move on to the next surah. I put the surah in the chat too, just in case if y'all wanna
What, Takwir?
Yeah, exactly. See.
I think that's Takwir.
Yeah, good job.
Did you share?
Well, you can say it, bro. You like just sound it out.
Takwir. I say takwir.
Takwir, yeah.
Takwir. Say it.
You play the video.
Say it.
No, please. You went to a francophone school. You can enunciate.
Yeah, Takwir. Like it's just.
Be quiet. Don't talk.
No, you guys can
my co-host like that. I'll fight you. I swear to God.
No, y'all enunciate.
Yeah. Yeah, you're lucky it's the month of Ramadan. I was gonna call you something, but go. Okay, let's continue.
At-Takwir, putting out the sun, is chapter 81 in the Quran. This Meccan chapter was revealed shortly after Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, began preaching Islam publicly to the people of Quraysh. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was known among his people for his honesty and integrity. They even referred to him as Al-Amin, the trustworthy one, yet many of them rejected his message. They knew it would pose a threat to their interests and status quo, and they had profited greatly from their pagan culture in Mecca. So they began a smear campaign against him, accusing him of being mad and insane. This chapter has two main parts. While the first part describes the horrors of the Day of Judgment, the second addresses those who deny the Quran and its message. It talks about how the Quran was revealed to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the weight of its message, and its call to action for humanity. Allah begins the surah describing the cosmic signs of the Day of Judgment. إِذَا الشَّمْسُ كُوِّرَتْ, when the sun is put out. The sun will look like it's being folded up, its light will disappear, and the world will begin to darken. وَإِذَا النُّجُومُ انْكَدَرَتْ, and when the stars fall down. وَإِذَا الْجِبَالُ سُيِّرَتْ, and when the mountains are blown away. وَإِذَا الْعِشَارُ عُطِّلَتْ, and when the pregnant camels are left unattended. Pregnant camels were the most coveted and most precious possessions for Arabs at that time. Allah is saying that even the most valuable possessions we own will be forgotten and left behind on this day. وَإِذَا الْوُحُوشُ حُشِرَتْ, and when wild beasts are gathered together. وَإِذَا الْبِحَارُ سُجِّرَتْ, and when the seas are set on fire. وَإِذَا النُّفُوسُ زُوِّجَتْ, and when the souls and their bodies are paired once more. وَإِذَا الْمَوْءُودَةُ سُئِلَتْ, and when baby girls buried alive are asked, بِأَيِّ ذَنْبٍ, for what crime they were put to death. Some pagan Arabs used to bury their infant daughters alive for fear of shame or poverty. This practice was condemned and abolished by Islam.
Hold on, I'm gonna pause that. That was kind of crazy. Let me go back real quick.
Nah, that's good.
وَإِذَا الْمَوْءُودَةُ سُئِلَتْ. And when baby girls buried alive are asked, بِأَيِّ ذَنْبٍ قُتِلَتْ. For what crime they were put to death. Some pagan Arabs used to bury their infant daughters alive for fear of shame or poverty. This practice was condemned and abolished by Islam. وَإِذَا الصُّحُفُ نُشِرَتْ. And when the records of deeds are laid open, meaning each individual will see a record of their own deeds on display in front of everyone on that day. وَإِذَا السَّمَاءُ كُشِطَتْ. And when the sky is stripped away. وَإِذَا الْجَحِيمُ.
I want to pause it real quick so we can have a quick discussion. So I don't know if I missed something. Do you guys know why those pagans were burying their? Obviously, they say for shame. What were they ashamed of?
Because
Like if the kid's born out of wedlock. So, for example, if baby didn't have a proper father through marriage, they would bury a lot.
or
Also said
even
fear
if,
of poverty.
Also, just being a female at the time, just having female kids.
But they used to kill baby
Around the
girls.
whole-
For being
it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's like in Asia, like in China, like a lot of people
To bury-
used to just kill their if they have daughters and stuff like that, like kill their
Yep.
kill their daughters.
So wait, but in the
Especially when
picture,
there was limited to have one child.
yeah, but in the picture, why it looked like it was the father that was burying the daughter?
So exactly.
Probably him.
So it's all of the
Yeah,
above.
because it was the men
Yeah,
that were killing their babies.
woman's not gonna want to do that. I'm not gonna lie.
Attached to their kid.
I'm gonna go back.
It was men doing that at that time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the only thing they said about that is like they're saying like for example like the she camel, right? Like and when the she camel, which used to be the best thing ever, are left unattended, and when the
they're
fathers are that kill their daughters, and the daughters are asked, what did they do to get killed? Kind of like all of what you did is catching up to you.
So I'm gonna go back 1 minute back so I can, because I was like trying to monitor, so I didn't catch everything. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go back 1 minute. If that's okay.
On this day. Possessions for Arabs at that time. Allah is saying that even the most valuable possessions we own will be forgotten and left behind on this day. وَإِذَا الْوُحُوشُ حُشِرَتْ. And when wild beasts are gathered together. وَإِذَا الْبِحَارُ سُجِّرَتْ. And when the seas are set on fire. وَإِذَا النُّفُوسُ زُوِّجَتْ. And when the souls and their bodies are paired once more. وَإِذَا الْمَوْءُودَةُ سُئِلَتْ. And when baby girls buried alive are asked, بِأَيِّ ذَنْبٍ قُتِلَتْ. For what crime they were put to death. Some pagan Arabs used to bury their infant daughters alive for fear of shame or poverty. This practice was condemned and abolished by Islam. وَإِذَا الصُّحُفُ نُشِرَتْ. And when the records of deeds are laid open, meaning each individual will see a record of their own deeds on display in front of everyone on that day. وَإِذَا السَّمَاءُ كُشِطَتْ. And when the sky is stripped away. وَإِذَا الْجَحِيمُ سُعِرَتْ. And when the hellfire is fiercely flared up. وَإِذَا الْجَنَّةُ أُزْلِفَتْ. And when paradise is brought near. عَلِمَتْ نَفْسٌ مَا أَحْضَرَتْ. On that day, each soul will know what deeds it has brought along. Everything we have done in this world, the good and the bad, will be taken to account. In the next part of the surah, Allah mentions the revelation of the Quran and its significance. Allah would first begin with a few oaths, swearing by a few of His creation. فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِالْخُنَّسِ. I do swear by the receding stars. Al-Jawar al-Kunnas, which travel and hide, referring to what many believe to be the black holes. وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا عَسْعَسَ. And the night as it falls. وَالصُّبْحِ إِذَا تَنَفَّسَ. And the day as it breaks. Allah then explains how the Quran was revealed to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, by way of angel Jibreel, and why he chose them for this great responsibility. إِنَّهُ لَقَوْلُ رَسُولٍ كَرِيمٍ. Indeed, this Quran is the word of Allah, delivered by Jibreel, a noble messenger angel. ذِي قُوَّةٍ عِنْدَ ذِي الْعَرْشِ مَكِينٍ. full of power, held in honor by the Lord of the throne. مطاع ثم أمين, obeyed there in heaven and trustworthy. وما صاحبكم بمجنون, and your fellow man is not insane, referring to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. وَلَقَدْ رَآهُ بِالْأُفُقِ الْمُبِينِ, and he did see the angel on the clear horizon, which is the very first time the Prophet, peace be upon him, saw Jibreel in his full angelic form. وَمَا هُوَ عَلَى الْغَيْبِ بِضَنِينٍ, and he does not withhold what is revealed to him of the unseen. وَمَا هُوَ بِقَوْلِ شَيْطَانٍ رَجِيمٍ, and this Quran is not the word of an outcast devil. فَأَيْنَ تَذْهَبُونَ, so what other path would you take? The Arabs of Quraysh knew Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, since his childhood. They knew that he was a man of upright character and that he never lied. But in spite of all that, they claimed he was mad and that he received his revelations from the devil. In these verses, Allah is raising the question to the pagans of Quraysh as to why they would make up lies about the Prophet, peace be upon him, when he is simply sharing the truth and message that Allah entrusted him to deliver to you. Allah would then end the surah by saying that this Quran, which he sent down to humanity, is a reminder for all people and for all times. Whoever among us strives to remain on the straight path should follow this Quran. Allah gave us the free will to choose whether to follow this path or not, but whoever follows a different path shall bear the responsibility for their actions. إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا ذِكْرٌ لِلْعَالَمِينَ, surely this Quran is only a reminder to the whole world. لِمَنْ شَاءَ مِنْكُمْ أَنْ يَسْتَقِيمَ, to whoever of you wills to take the straight path. وَمَا تَشَاءُونَ إِلَّا أَنْ يَشَاءَ اللَّهُ رَبُّ الْعَالَمِينَ, but you cannot will to do so except by the will of Allah, the Lord of all worlds. Help us create more videos by visiting our website today and contributing to our mission and project. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel to access more videos and content.
So what do you guys think? I can give you guys the context and then we can go from there. So yeah, this was long.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sorry.
So yeah, so the quick context, Surah 81. So it's the overthrowing or the folding up. Is a Meccan surah in the Quran that describes the signs of the day of judgment and event of all hereafter. Of the hereafter, emphasizing the importance of the Quran message and accountability of humanity. Here's a more detailed breakdown of the context. Name and meaning. The surah name, Al-Takwir, comes from the Arabic word takwir, which means to fold up or roll up, referring to the sun folding up on the day of judgment. The theme. The central theme of the Surah 81 is the day of judgment, with the first part describing the sign of the end of the world, and the second part focusing on the resurrection, accountability, and revelation of the Quran. Key event described. The surah depict the various events that will occur on the day of judgment, such as the sun losing its light, the stars scattering, the mountain being uprooted, the sea boiling, the soul being reunited with their bodies, the record deeds being laid open, the heavens being unveiled, hellfire and heaven being brought into full view. The message and the purpose, the verse, Surah 81, verses as a warning to humanity about the end of, I can't say this word, the I say end of
What, invisible?
Like
Inevitable?
inevitable, but inevitability of the day of the judgment and importance of the preparing for it through good deeds and faith. They also emphasize the truth of the Quran as a divine revelation and the authority of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So, yeah, that is, and the significance is because it highlights the importance of the hereafter and the accountability of human being. So, what do we think about that surah? What are some of the things that stood out to you? Discussions. So do you have any? Are you still reading?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
No, the way I view that story is just like I said, it's all like a reminder. It's more so looking at like giving us like the reality of like what's actually gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's like learning us like get yourself ready. And then also I like the fact that it at the end it gave us like it mentioned the free will thing. Like I like when certain like surahs bring back to like certain conversations we had. And it's like Allah gave us free will too to like he gave us free will for a reason. Even with the angels, like he was telling the angels were telling Allah like why did you create people for them to like cause destruction or whatever the case may be, knowing that we're gonna have free will. But the person that is taking his free will to like go the way of Allah, like glad tidings to them. So on the day of judgment, like you're gonna be questioned about certain things they're gonna do. Like how they said like in the when they said like some people their like book of deeds are gonna be like handed in their right hand if you're like a righteous person, and if you're like a bad person, it's gonna be like to your left hand. But some people they wouldn't try to take it in their left hand, so they'll put their hand like behind their back, and then the book will like be in their back, like. And then some people will be like, oh, like let me be like my own like lawyer or like somebody that intercedes for themselves. So like Allah will like seal their mouths, and then like your limbs will talk for you, like like they will like snitch on you or whatever the case may be. So I don't know, like when it comes to surahs like this, it just puts you in like I don't know. I don't want to. It's just a good reminder. That's all I can really say about certain surahs. Like certain surahs, they tell you about like the rights of certain things you should do or whatever. But surahs like this, they just give you like the reality of like this world is really like nothing. Like I don't know. Like the hereafter is gonna be like like reality for real, for real.
Yeah. Mo, you can go if you want. Okay, I'm gonna add on. You wanna go, Nusha?
Yeah, no, I think like it was very descriptive in terms of all the signs and things like that, and it makes you really think. Like we think we have all of the best things that we think we have at the end we won't have, right? At the end is going to be nothing. And so although it's fine to appreciate what you have, but not lose sight of the fact that what's guaranteed in this world is that you will die and that everything else would be left, right? Because they even talked about like at the time their most prized possession like are left by themselves, right? And that's exactly what's going to happen here with all of us, and that's a guarantee. So
yeah,
you can't hide behind anything, and you could use what you have to comfort you, but like it's not going to comfort you forever.
No, yeah. I think it's for me it's like very descriptive. It gives you a clear image as you go through it, even reading it, like the step by step. I think I was reading it, the part that was talking about, I don't know if I lost it or whatever, but yeah, it was giving us the depicting like what would happen on that day, and they were talking about how like the mountain will explode, like the sun shutting out, sea boiling, like the water sea's gonna turn into fire. The record of deeds being open. So pretty much everything's going to be out in the open as everything is being destroyed here on earth to commence the judgment day, the soul going back to reconnecting with the body and things like that. To me, it's like, it's very, very scary. To me, that's what it looked like. To me, when I listen to that, there's nothing that's like, when you listen, I think me and Lamin and Numsa also talked about this, where it's like, imagine if you're 10 or 11 and you're reading this surah and they tell you what it means, and they're giving you the steps of what's going to happen that day, and somebody telling you the earth is going to open up, the sky is going to split open, the sun is going to disappear, it's going to go dark, and your soul is going to reconnect with the body, what is it called, the mountain is going to explode. If you tell that to a kid, right, they're going to be very fearful, and they're going to want to not do the wrong things. Because if you tell them, if you do bad, when this day come, you're not gonna be able to avoid it, and that's what you're gonna. That's the consequence. So, I was talking to Numso about this. I was talking about when he said that they mix culture with religion, right? Now, if this conversation can be open to the room, but let's be respectful. I mean, not respectful. Let's just give each other like time to talk, right? So, so I was saying that a lot of time, I would say most of the time, when Africans, our mom and dad mention culture, you can always go back to the Quran, where you can kind of relate what they're saying to the Quran. I'm saying people blame a lot of stuff on the Quran. I mean, on the culture, when and saying it's not the Quran, when it's actually you don't want to listen or want to do things the way you want to do, which can be not only disrespectful to your parents, your family, and things like that, and also the Quran backs it up in terms of why you should do some of these things. So I think like people always like miss that point, like, no, that's not in the Quran. That's not. It doesn't have to say that. If your parents say don't do this, or because the Quran don't say that, that's not written in the Quran. But if you go back and you read some of the verses in the Quran, it's gonna indicate something like that. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's the ignorance of the knowledge of the Quran. I think that's where it comes from. It's like not knowing it fully. So like when we sit, I feel like we didn't sit down like this before to dissect everything in terms of like surahs and readings in the Quran. I think that's where it's coming from when people say, "Oh, that's not in the Quran," because I don't think because of they saying it that they know it's not. I think they're saying it because they're not really versed on it. That it's not in the Quran.
Yeah. Anybody else want to chime in? So.
Because like what you say, even if it's not in the Quran, but there's indications that leans towards that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think a mix. Like, I do think, yes, I agree. There are things that they can say, things that can be said, and it's, you know, it may not be word for word this exact thing, but it could relate to something that is in the religion in the Quran. I also think the opposite, in that people will lie and say that things are in the Quran to like impose their personal view or their cultural view on the way you should live your life, even though it's not necessarily backed up by the Quran. So I think it could be both. Like, we live in a world where both exist, is my thought.
No, that's reasonable. I was gonna ask, okay, I mean, because you did give an example last time. I don't know if other people are here and willing to talk. I would want if you guys can chime in and give an example of something that was said from our culture, our parents, where it's mentioned, something is mentioned that's not in the Quran, or the Quran doesn't indicate what's being said at all. Like, if you have an example, because as people say it very frequently. So, and I think a lot of time people will throw stuff out there and then not really think about it. So if anybody have an example, you can let me know, or I mean, the room or whatever.
I think it's to Mo's point what he was saying. Like, parents say a lot of things, you know. Don't do this because it's religion and stuff like that. But even though there's backup in the Quran, they don't know that there's backup in the Quran. Like, they would just say it because that's what they know. But there's always something. There's something in the Quran that relates to it, right? It might not be word from word, but what our parents usually say is coming from somewhere, whether it's mixed with culture and what's in the Quran, but there's always a base in it. The parents themselves might not even know that. They're just repeating it because that's how, you know, they were raised and that's how they were brought up. But knowing what's in there is very important, and then knowing if it's written is very important too, because, you know, kids, if you tell them to do something against the religion, the follow-up question will be like, is that written? And my kids ask me that question all the time, is that written? I'm like, let's look it up together and we figure it out. But yeah, it's just sometimes the parents don't know that it's in there either.
Yeah, that's a good point. Go ahead, Mo.
No, I was saying true. I agree.
What you want to say?
Yeah. So I don't. In terms of in terms of my parents, I don't really have any examples. They never really like, oh, the Quran said this, the Quran said you have, you know, like, kind of did that. But I do feel like for example, I think it was earlier when we were discussing, someone said, Someone said,
The camera, yeah.
Oh, someone said that an imam or somebody said something along the lines of, if you don't pray during the year, or if you're not good with praying during the year, you might as well not fast, because if your fasting doesn't matter. You guys remember somebody said that?
Kevin was jokingly saying that today, but
I thought he was saying that
he saw a video.
Like an imam or someone said that.
No, he didn't specifically say imam. He said he saw a video. So I don't know if he was just a random person talking, because he said it today. He said, no, I just saw a video. Somebody was saying that.
Okay.
He didn't.
Because that came to mind. Because for example, when he said that, all of us were like, that's not true. Like, you can't just tell people, certain things like that. But let's say, like, for example, someone who is not familiar with the religion, who either is considering changing or who is kind of in between, right? They don't know, as in like what Mo said, like what we're doing right now, like to actually see what's in there. And they listen to something like that and they're like, wow, I might as well not even try to fast because it won't matter, right? Like something like that is like people like that, like it's a lie, And
well, okay, let's dissect that. So, like I would always say, like, don't give up. Always try your best. That's what, like, honesty. Only in your heart, if you're actually trying or if you're trying to just make it look good. There's a difference. There's some people that they don't pray every day, or they might pray every day but not on time. But in their heart, I think it matters what's in your heart. But they know that they're actually trying. They're not faking, and they're not trying to make it look good for people. They're actually trying. Because life, there's a lot of circumstances that happen in life where you might not be able to pray on time or just be praying every day. Right, so life happened. But now let's speak on the fact. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. I think I've heard that in order to be considered a true Muslim or Muslim, you got to do your 5 daily prayers. You can't just half-ass it and do this, do that, do it sometime not, or whatever the case may be. Because people make a lot of. I think me and Mo talked about this with the Antidipos a while ago. It's like people make a lot of excuses to not pray, but they have all the time to go party or even be on Clubhouse or do certain things. Because I say, we be like, we don't be having time. I'm like, bro, we've been sitting here for 6 hours, and it's like you could have went and prayed, but you've been sitting here the whole time. So there's that excuse. There's also people that, so how are you people can say, I'm trying. Are you really trying? Because you can say, let me get up and pray. But are you prioritizing to go to make that a thing where it's like, let me get up and pray? Because like I can say, when Mo usually come over here, like we be talking, we be more like, I gotta go pray. That's prioritizing it. When they say, the conversation is good right now, I'm gonna do it later. That's not prioritizing it. Even if you do it, it's not something important. The conversation can wait and you can go pray. Not because the conversation is good, not because the show is good, not because, I don't want to miss out on this part or whatever the case may be. Because that means you're putting all of this other stuff ahead of prayers. So now, let's talk about the nitty-gritty, and I'm gonna let everybody, chime in. The prayer, not praying 5 times a day, can you still be considered a Muslim? Yes or no? Why and why not? And if you're only fasting and you're not doing the rest of the prayers and other stuff that you need to do, are you still considered Muslim? Why or why not?
Specify if you're fasting. If you're just not praying.
No, like I'm saying, no. Just you're doing a Ramadan. Every year you do. You only do the Ramadan. You only partake in the Ramadan, and the rest of the year you're not praying. You're just doing whatever. Yes. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So are those people considered to be true Muslims? Because like trying is key. Yeah, good. Go ahead, Mo.
I was saying, like, I don't know as far as considering to be a Muslim, but I know for a fact if you fasting and you're not praying, that fast is not correct. And also, like, for example, the best example that I've heard, they would say that, like, for example.
Mo, hold on 1 second. I just want to. That's why I clarified what he said. Yeah. You're fasting and praying during the month of Ramadan. What you're not doing is outside of the month of Ramadan. Yeah, is praying. So I just want to make sure.
I understand. I understand what he said that part. But I'm saying that like I'm just trying to make different points. And in terms of like prayers, like the best example that I've heard, they said that your prayers are like your visa to the day of judgment. Like that's the part I've heard. Like you being consistent with your prayer is your visa to enter Jannah. That's what I've heard. But to say that if you're not praying, you're not Muslim, because there's a story when some people say their shahada on their deathbed their deathbed, and they are able to enter the Jannah. right? There's also people that they evil and they, like there's stories like that. So I don't know.
and then they got into
Yeah, so I don't know about you not being Muslim because if you die in those ways, then I don't know. Everybody gonna be judged. That's what I'm saying. But they say that they do emphasize on prayer, how important prayers are. Prayer is very important because even, for example, not even looking at like prayer getting into Jannah. For me personally, like a lot of discipline I learned it because through prayers. For it, like it teach me a lot of discipline. Like staying on top of my prayer teach me a lot of discipline. For example, like I remember when I was in college, I would go like pee and I don't use water to clean myself. You get what I'm saying? But then when I started praying, when I started really being focused on my prayer, I've never done that since. You get what I'm saying? Because I'm always thinking, okay, like I have to pray. If I'm, you know what I'm saying? It's like we men, we boy, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes you could be outside, you go pee behind somewhere. But like now, I've never been able to do that, and it just for me, it's like it keep me like it keep me like clean.
Yep. So, do anybody? Me, go ahead. I think you're off mute.
Yeah, for the prayer part, like I think it mentions that in the like Quran and Hadiths, like you're considered as like a kafir if you don't pray. Like even if you like born a Muslim and stuff like that. You know, and some of us like we're born into like an Islamic family and stuff like that, but we don't pray. Like it mentions that, like it says like you're like a kafir, like because even some people like they're like munafiq, like they're like hypocrites and stuff like that. They pray. Like I'm glad you even just said this, right? The people that pray and like fast on during Ramadan and stuff like that, but they're like the best, worship, like they worship Allah in like their best way or whatever the case may be, right? So some people they don't do it sincerely. Like Islam is all about like sincerity. On the day of judgment, like a lot of people they will wonder like why their brothers are like in hellfire or whatever the case may be, because they weren't like sincere about certain things. But prayer, like me growing up and like the stuff that I've read and stuff like that within the Quran and Hadith, like when it comes to prayer, it has to be done. If you consider yourself like a Muslim or like a movement or whatever the case may be, even like Mo said on your deathbed thing, it all has to do with Allah's mercy. Like even with what is it called, like Fir'aun, Angel Jibril start kicking like what is it called, like just start,
dirt in his mouth, yeah,
dirt in his mouth, because he was gonna say like like the faith, like la ilaha illallah, that's what la ilaha illallah at that time. But he was gonna say that and Allah was gonna still have mercy on him because he said that or whatever the case may be. But the thing about that is with prayer, bro, like prayer is like a thing in Islam. Like you literally talking to Allah every day. And if also how beautiful the prayer is, you're praising how Allah's oneness is in the prayer. Like you're glorifying Allah. That's what prayer is actually for. Like you said, it's like tranquility and like discipline and peacefulness within yourself. And if you don't do that, like that's why, like if the prayer wasn't like obligatory, then I would understand. Like prayer is not sunnah. It's like it's fun. Like it's like obligatory. It's like put on you. Just like a woman that should wear hijab, fasting, zakat, all those type of things are all like obligatory. Anything that's why I tell people all the time, know the rulings of Islam first, know the rulings of like Tawheed and all this other stuff, then you will understand more. But when it comes to prayer though, I always tell people pray. Like if you don't pray, you're definitely a kafir. Like you could go to hellfire for that, for not praying. You're not worshiping Allah in your best way, like and the way you're supposed to, basically. Like you could be a good person, you could be the best person on like ever. Like you could be the best person ever. Like you could be nice to everybody, blah blah blah. But if you don't pray, it's like what is it? Like what is all that for? And nobody enters Jannah just based off their good deeds too. It's all Allah's mercy. It's not just all based off your it's just my good deeds. It's Allah's mercy.
Yep. I'm gonna add more. Just a little bit more stuff.
I have a question.
Can I say something before?
Go ahead.
Yeah, go.
All right.
Let her go first.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Numso, you want to talk?
No, go ahead first.
Okay, so I think prayer is one of our 5 pillars, so that is a must. And as far as being a Muslim or not a Muslim, only Allah knows that. Like I don't think me as a person could say you're a Muslim or you're not a Muslim based on that.
I agree.
But I think what we need to focus on here is the intent, 1, and then 2, put in an effort, right? And what's in your heart, right? So if you are, let's say if it's Ramadan and you only fasting and praying during Ramadan, that is initiation, like that's an intent. You're doing it during Ramadan in hopes that you could continue it after Ramadan. And a lot of people have started praying and doing Ramadan the way that it's supposed to be done, and then after Ramadan they continue it. So that's the hope. That's the hope. As long as that person has that in them, I think, Allah will be merciful and Allah will help them and guide them through the right way. I think we lose hope, or you start going down the wrong path when, one, it's not in your heart, and then two, you don't feel like there's a purpose of it. You know what I mean? Like you lose, I don't know what word I'm looking for.
You lose sight of it.
Yeah, you lose sight of it. I think that's when you start spiraling down. But I think as long as you are putting effort into it, Allah is the most merciful and the most forgiving, and Allah knows best, right? Us sitting here and saying you're a Muslim or not a Muslim, that's not for us at all. So let's not even touch that area there. But I think the point is, as long as you are putting in effort. But if you're sitting down and the first pillar is believing, right? And then the second is prayers. So that we know those are important. So we know that we have to do that. But I think as long as we are continuing and striving to do that, we should be good. That's my opinion.
And also, not to cut you off, but like also on the day of judgment too, the first thing you're asked for is your prayers. Like I agree with what she just said though. Like it's all up to Allah. Like all of us, we could sit here and say this, that, and the third. Like, oh, such and such is going to Jannah. None of us know where we're actually going. Right? No, we don't even know what tomorrow holds. We don't know what we're gonna wear tomorrow. We don't know what. Like we don't know. A lot of things you just don't know. You feel me? So the thing is, I look at it like the number one thing that they ask for in the day of judgment is your prayer. Like it's like your prayer. That's the first thing you get judged off of, and everything else like falls in line. But I agree definitely with you said that.
Just to clarify something, the question wasn't if you're gonna go to Jannah or not. The question was, can you be?
The question is if you're a Muslim.
Yes, if you don't do the prayer, that's one. Two. Also, we're not saying this is our thoughts. We're saying what also been said, because I have some things that I wanted to read before we continue. We're not making a judgment of who's going to go, who's not. And I also mentioned, said, I gave a long soliloquy when I was saying that it's about what's in your heart. If you're doing it to make it look good, it's different than somebody that's actually trying. So just to debunk what Auntie was saying. I said that earlier.
Yeah.
No, I was about to say I think I mentioned intention too. It's like it's all about like
you did
your intention.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna drop off. I'm going to bed. Bye, guys.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
One thing that I want to say too, because let me mention, for example, like the similar to like prayer and like the wearing a headscarf, right, is also required, similar to prayer. So in terms of the headscarf, so there's the 5 pillars of Islam, right, which it's, believing in one God, prayer, give zakat, fast during Ramadan, do a pilgrimage, and that's it, right? So in terms of, and actually, if you can send me headscarf being as like equating to the 5 pillars, I've never.
No. I wasn't. No. I wasn't trying to like. She was giving you like an example. It wasn't. It wasn't that. It was just the importance of it. Like you're as a woman, you're supposed to cover. Like even men, you're supposed to cover your outer. I always say outer. Those are like parts that it's like entice like the opposite gender or whatever the case may be. Like your arms, your calf muscle, certain things that you're just supposed to cover. Like we have our own things that we're supposed to cover. Like men. Yep. You can't pray in shorts. You can't like stuff like that. Like
so. Yes, and that was that answers my question. The other thing, the thing though that I want to know is like in terms of sources of like requirements, because I know you're supposed to be modest and you're supposed to cover and be modest essentially, right? But like I'm like, for example, I just looked something up. It says while Muslims view the hijab as a requirement, Islamic teachings emphasize that there's no compulsion in religion, allowing individuals to make personal choices regarding their religious practices, including wearing a hijab. So it's, I want to, and then I also watched like, I think maybe we may have talked about it. It was one of those TED Talks, and it was a girl talking about, and back to how we started this whole thing, references, right? Because I want to do research, be a student and stuff like that, and not just take what people are saying. Of number one, the research of folks that believe that it is something that is a requirement, which for me, based on my understanding, it's not. And based on how I was taught growing up, like in terms of my parents and stuff like that, like it was never even like something that was brought to me as in like, hey, we're going to put you in a hijab, right? From when I was younger. And so, besides if you go to, pilgrimage and you do, and then post that, most of the time, that's when kind of I seen that happen. And so one, I want to understand like the requirement support for that. And then two,
for the prayer.
No, not for prayer, just on a daily basis. Like, yeah, I'm not talking about prayer. Prayer for sure. Absolutely. I'm just talking about daily basis. And then the second thing is, I'm going to try to see if I could find that video, because my Palestinian friend is actually who showed me that video, because she doesn't wear a hijab and she grew up in an Islamic state. In that video, the lady went through and talked about the context in which the hijab was in the form that it is, like the headscarf and veil in the form that it is, was brought forth. And it was a situation that was happening in, at the time. And there was a lot of like, SA and, the R word and things that were happening to people that weren't, to women who weren't of like a certain stature, and women that were of a certain stature dressed a certain way. And so there was kind of like in that time, hey, okay, everyone dress this particular way so that to avoid what was happening at the time. So she goes into, I haven't watched a video in a while, so I don't want to quote that or say that's my response.
Can we answer the first part of the question? Go ahead. Sorry.
Good.
Yeah. So it's two different. It's required. Where does that stem from? And then what the source is, so I can read upon that. And then on the other side, she was saying it's not required, and here's where it actually came from. But you are required to dress modestly. But the hijab in the way that it is, she had a different background on that. And I don't think
hijab, because hijab could be extreme. If you go to some Arabic country, the women, they will even wear gloves. I don't think it's say anywhere that hijab is required, but as a woman, you have to cover yourself, like
dress modestly,
dress modestly. I think that's why it is required. I don't think hijab is requirement anyway, because if you look at it, Arab, like back then, those time, even now, they always used to dress like that anyway. They used to, even the men, they used to wear.
You got to cover your face in the desert. Like a lot of it. So that's my question. Is it like the way that some of the other people have taken it? Is it also based on the way that they used before even the prophet and everything like that? How they used to even dress in the desert, like culturally, right? Prior to even Islam coming, to pass, when you're in a desert, and even men, like you're wearing the turban and you have the scarf covering your nose and your mouth or whatever, because you're in this particular particular region, right? So like, I think some of the way that it looks now today is heavily influenced by some Arabian culture, but that it may not, to my understanding, it's not a required of it has to be this way.
No. I know. Go ahead, Dada.
So you're talking about style. You're talking about style. No, so.
Huh?
You're talking about style.
What do you mean style?
Like their culture. That's how
to cover their hair.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But again, I think when I was talking about, I just looked at Surah. I think it's Al-Nur. It's talking about lowering your gaze, covering your bosom, wearing a cloak to cover all your parts. So it doesn't have to be a hijab, but you have to. So I think the hijab. I think that people are emphasized on hijab so much. Where when I mentioned Mo, that when they say it's culture, but when you go in the Quran, it indicates that it indicates something about that. It doesn't say hijab, but it's telling you to cover your bosom, lower your gaze, your hair, and things like that. So
what surah is it?
An-Nur.
In verse. That's the thing. I'm not disagreeing
No, I'm
that
not
you
saying
need
you
to be
disagree.
modest.
I'm not disagreeing.
And, yeah,
but I'm saying,
my
what if
question
you
is about hijab?
if you focus on the hijab so much, then people are like, see,
Okay.
the hijab is not in there. Yeah, it doesn't have to be the hijab. But if you put something over your head, somebody will, oh, that's a hijab. It doesn't have to be a hijab. It can be whatever. It can be a bitrang.
just
It can
covering.
be whatever the case may be.
Yeah,
But
it could be like an African, like
yes, the goal is your bosom is covered, you lower your gaze, your buttocks is covered, and dormant is covered, your hair is covered. So whether you want to do it with a hijab or you want to do it with a blanket, whatever it is, it doesn't say blanket, cover it.
What's the verse?
Wait, it's the same thing with the women of like Jesus, like even Maryam herself, she used to cover her hair, like all, like it wasn't just for like art, like it's not just for like Muslims, it's for like all people. It's not just for Muslims. I always try to tell people that, like, even the women back then, like the ones that were not Muslim, they covered themselves. They were like modest. They weren't walking around like showing their hair, and like everybody was covered. Like if you look back at like certain times, even like medieval times, you see women are covered, like all that type of stuff. And also like, wait, hold on, to something that I said earlier, like I think I said like the prayer thing is in the Quran. Let me take that back. It was like I meant to say it's not in the Quran, but it's like mentioning like certain hadiths and stuff like that about the prayer and stuff like that. Let me definitely take that back. I don't want y'all to run with that and stuff like that. I don't want that type of, like it like explicitly like say something about like you being a kafir in the Quran though. Like it says something like it just emphasizes like prayer. Let me emphasize that before this information get leaked.
No, you're good, you're good. And the thing about it also, we're not saying that like we're the experts, so it's okay if we make mistakes. It's okay. There's some things that I said, whatever, but I'm obviously gonna try to like edit it to the best of my ability to make sure, if certain things is said and then it's like, oh, you go correct, I will edit those out. You know what I'm saying? So, but again, I always say at the beginning, we're here to learn, so we can make mistakes and then we can get corrected later. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's the whole thing. The fact that you even having a discussion about it or thought that it was this or that, because a lot of things you actually say on here, you and Mo, a lot of them is like it's factual, and some of the conversation is just disagreement, and you know what I'm saying, that's about it though. But I get what you said. I get what you're saying. I mean, but go ahead, Nimsa. That's the surah. It's another surah also, Al-Hazab also, I think 33:59. Also talking about the verse, instruct the prophet wives and believing women to draw their cloak over their body, emphasizing recognition and protection from harassment.
And that may have been like what she's referring to in the sense of like people were getting SA and Rs, and
but it's in the Quran.
In that area.
It's two different surah.
No, I'm not saying it's not in the Quran. I said she's talking about the Quran. She was saying like, you know how when we've been reading the Quran, we read what the context is? What she was saying is providing like context in a sense of when it was like established in the sense of like, the head covering and things like that. But anyways, I agree.
I don't want to go to me, it's just like, it's one of those conversations where it's like, we clearly know what the message is saying, but we're just trying to emphasize, not you, we're just trying to emphasize the hijab, where it's like, it doesn't even matter. There's no value to say it's hijab. The whole point is hijab is the one the majority of people wear or whatever, all around the world. Just cover up. That's it. That's how I look at it. It's like when you get into that conversation, it's like, okay, you're right. They didn't say hijab. Okay, how you gonna cover up? You're gonna put a blanket over your head? You're gonna wear a hoodie? Like for a woman, what look more presentable is the hijab. So you get what I'm saying? There's no that's how I look at it. It's like that's nitpicking. Or some people, they're saying things just to oppress us. No, girl, you're supposed to cover up. Not you again. And I'm just saying a lot. But go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about just the act of head covering being mandatory or not. And what I read is saying that it's like
it's not
necessarily a requirement
to cover your hair.
You have to be modest. I don't know what the specific. I started the question by saying I need to do more research and read more about.
You making this about you. It's not about you. You're not the only one that said hijab. Your question you're asking, the Quran. We looked at the surah, a couple surah that saying that to cover your hair. Are you asking if there's a requirement to cover your hair or not? Is that the question?
Right, like, and what that is and what the context of that means, etc.
So if one of the surah that I just mentioned, they said
so I need to go and do homework and research. Okay. That's I started by saying like
I agree.
You pulled it up, but you reading it in 5 seconds.
No, it's fine.
I need to actually do research.
Regardless of what it is, if the Quran say that to cover your hair, you can do more research. It's still gonna say cover your hair. Like, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's still got.
I feel like if the Quran says it, then I don't think there's like extra research needed.
Yeah, like
if it says in the Quran.
But like, I didn't read what he read. I didn't read the sentence before. I didn't read the sentence after. I didn't read, like, you get what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is I need to actually like do research.
I'm saying
read. Like,
yeah.
you can't just
No, you're right.
everyone has their own. You have to. I'm of the person of like, I'm not. Someone says something. Okay, that's all they said, and I stay there. You get what I'm saying?
Well, you did that with one of the.
Yeah,
but
you're right about if it's in
it was the information. You sent it to. I saw that, and I had to double check it, and then it came out. I think it was like the airplane or whatever, the crashes, and they lied or something like that. And then we looked it up. The numbers didn't even make sense. I looked it up. The numbers didn't make sense. But what I'm saying is, yeah, you can do further examination. You can do that. But I'm looking at two different surah. I give you the surah An-Nur. And Al-Hazab, one is clearly saying the surah often is often cited regarding hijab. These are the instructions. Believe in women who to lower their gaze, guard their private part, which even without the Quran, this would make sense, right? So anyway, private part and not display their adornment except what is apparent while drawing their head, covering over their bosoms. Al-Sinodi. The other surah say that the verse instruct the prophet wives and believe in women to draw their cloak over their body, emphasizing recognition and protection from harassment. We can look at more stuff. I mean, once you do more research, we can talk about it after that. But I think it's kind of.
I'm about to say certain things in the Quran. They're just in order, like just for you to like be modest and stuff like that. It's not like really much to it.
I don't think the hijab, because some people be taking the hijab thing like to the level. I don't think, but just like, you know, like what Dawda said, you just cover like some important part and lower your gaze. I think
just cover yourself, because they even said like Allah has a hijab, like on the day of judgment.
The
women, like the women wear here.
Yeah, the veil.
Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
It's like a seal, like just like a protection type of thing, like, cause you know us, like y'all
but I
keep saying
think for that though, they said that the sight of Allah, just as a human, we couldn't grasp it. I think that's what that veil.
You couldn't grasp it. No, that veil right there, it's not the same. But the thing is, like with the women, like Allah knows the whatchamacallit He created, like His creation, like He knows us more than we know ourselves. So He just tells women to protect themselves. He tells men also to protect themselves, to cover their, like, you know, private parts and stuff like that. Don't walk around just being. It's just that simple. Like if Allah tells you to do like a certain thing, just like Tanti Zainab, what she said, like try your best. Like just like some people, a lot of things come with like Allah's help too. Some things when you try your best, Allah will like put it in your heart to like do it. But if you just sit down and you try to like question certain things, and then like certain things is just that simple. You just try your best to do it. Allah said pray, you pray, right? Nobody really question prayer too much. Allah say, what is it? Wear hijab. Allah told men to do certain things for women. Allah said certain women do certain things for men. It's just like certain things are just that simple, to be honest. Like I don't know.
So
I feel like that's how it is.
So let's just do it now. Go to Surah Al-Hazab and go to 33 verse 59. Here. The beginning say, I can even read it. Surely those who offend Allah and His Messenger are commended by Allah in His world and the hereafter, and He has prepared for them the humiliating punishment. As for those who abuse belief in men and women unjustifiably, they will definitely bear the guilt of slander and blatant sins. O Prophet, ask your wives, daughters, believe in women to draw their cloak over their body. In this way, it's more likely that they will not recognize as virtuous and not be harassed, and Allah in all forgiving, most merciful. If the hypocrites and those with sickness and heart, this and it goes into whole other one. I'm gonna put up the other surah too, and then you can go to the top city. It will give further explanation. Let me pull up the other surah too. And this is what's the Ibn Kathir, you know. So, but I mean, you can look more further thing, but just a part in the
my main
Quran
thing is I want to take my time, read, understand the context in which it was given. Because the same thing someone can say, oh yeah, you know, the Quran said if they come, you know, to you, kill them. Like, or if they revert, kill them. You get what I'm saying? So like, I want to understand the context in which we've been saying this entire time, the context in which it was said, and then do my own research and have something resonate personally with me.
No, I agree. I just don't think it's gonna change tremendously.
Yeah,
I think it's
agree.
still gonna be the same.
Yeah,
and I think those are different.
Just try your best, like I said. Just like you could go like certain days throughout. Like my personal thing, I always tell this to women because even like my sisters, right? My sisters, they used to cover. Now they don't really cover too much. Like I always like make dua for them to like cover again, just because of course we don't want to. Like based off like the things you hear about punishment and stuff like that, and the hereafter, like I don't want that to happen. Like either one of us, like even like all like the women that I know outside of my family. Same thing with like the guys outside of my family. Certain things I just tell people like, just try your best. Like do it like a couple of days outside, like out the week or whatever the case may be. On a Friday, you might cover the whole day. Like, and just try your best. Like that's really what it is. Like make your intention to like do that at least. Like just because Allah is asking you to do it. It's not because like, oh, anybody else, like your mom is not forcing you to like, I understand if your mom was forcing you to like cover and stuff like that, it would like stray you away low key because like you're trying to be forced.
Not to cut you off, I agree with you. Another surah here. These are all in the Quran. Again, Nimsa can do more research. There is no blame on you if you enter public places where there is something of benefit for you, and Allah knows what you reveal and what you conceal. Pay attention to that, okay? What you reveal, what you conceal. Oh, Prophet, tell the believing men to lower their gaze and guard their. I think you mentioned what men's supposed to do too, and guard their chastity. That is pure for them. Surely Allah is all aware of what they do. And then it say, and tell the believing women to lower their gaze and guard their chastity, and not to be revealed their endowments, except normally appears. Let them draw their veils over their chests and not reveal their hidden adornments, except to their husband, their fathers, and their father-in-law, their sons, their stepsons, their brothers' sons and sisters' sons. Their fellow women, those bondwomen in their possession, male attendants with no desire or children who are still unaware of woman nakedness. Let them not stump their feet, drawing attention to their hidden adornments. Turn to Allah and repentance altogether. All believe so that you may be successful. And it goes as more and more and more. And marry for womb, righteousness. Them and bondwomen, if they're poor, Allah will enrich them. So it goes into it. So it's you can click on it. It will give you more. Again, that's a different surah. That's An-Nur, right? That's also talking about lower. It's talking about men.
That's the surah you first read.
No, Al-Hazab. It's okay.
No, the first one you said is An-Nur. That's what I typed in.
No, and then the first one I read, it's on tape.
It was some other one. It started with an H.
Yeah,
I think you said.
There's a third one?
No, this is a different. The one I read was from
the second one.
Al-Hazab.
The first is An-Nur, which you had mentioned that that was the first. Yeah. Okay.
There's two surah. There's both.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but this one give you a longer version when they're telling you. That one is just telling the prophet wives, to tell his wives to do this, do that. This one is telling what men should do to lower their gaze, and women should do it, and to only reveal those parts to only their husband that they're planning on having children with. So
no, I heard. Yeah, I heard what you said.
I'm saying that's why I read it too. So again, no, it's okay. Go do everything. I'm just messing with you.
No, it's like your mahar. Like,
honestly, I mean, for me, it also says, like to me, I feel like one needs to do their research and understand. And my main thing is the context.
So I'm gonna be honest. Certain things, like I understand. This is why I say I like people that have like they want to know knowledge of Islam. I always tell y'all this. Like even though I big you up on this all the time. It's good to do that, but like certain things are just like. I don't know. Like you could really go do your research, but a lot of stuff, like I said, is like clear cut in the Quran. Like it's like right there. Like you get what I'm saying? And this is coming from the words of Allah, not anybody else.
No, I mean I was just messing with. I was looking at.
Did we read some? Does something say something along the lines? What do you What does what is the punishment for someone who who leaves Islam? I mean.
You said I think it was like at those times. I think it was like death or something like that. At like the time of the Prophet, I believe, right?
Which one? Because the Quran is timeless.
No. It's like certain things. It comes down. The revelation comes down due to like certain things that are like that were happening to like that's like at the time of the Prophet,
because of context. But my question is. But it says it's clear, right? It says very clearly what to do if someone So then if one of your friends revert, right? It says it very clearly in terms of the direction.
It doesn't say that.
No. Me personally, I wouldn't kill my friend though. But you remember, I also said it's certain things that Allah's knowledge is beyond our knowledge. You get what I'm saying?
So
like me personally, I don't know what Allah said it.
My point is, what I want to do research on is there are certain things, such as the example that I just gave, that were sent down because certain things were happening at the time in terms of context, and like. This was the direction of what to do during that time. And the reason why I'm saying this is because the video that I am like that I watched, that I mentioned, she talks, all of what you read is something that she is saying, but she's not saying it's not there. She's explaining what the context was and why this was revealed because of what was happening. In the same way as why like the what to do when the reversion and all of this other stuff that was happening that you're probably not going to do to your friend today. And so I'm not saying that it's one or the other. All I'm saying is I've heard various things, and it's now up to, like, I want to do my diligence and
no, you're right.
Do my research and understand. If I'm taking a decision to go to do something, like, it's something that like needs to be a decision for you. You get what I'm saying? It's something you choose to do for you because you've thought about it and it resonates with you, and then you decide to make that transition. Yeah. Not because you're pressured, because honestly, if you're, I mean, like,
but I agree with you to a certain degree, but I think like the apostasy, that's what you're talking about. I don't think it says that in the Quran. We can look that up. I think like there's a hadith that kind of describe what happens to someone that leave. I think also what's the Sharia law also. I think that's the Islamic law that also like it's kind of like treason if you do it explicitly, like not like the one. I think to Lamin's point, he's saying there's certain things in the Quran like it's just very direct, right? So you're talking about the context, which I agree. Like the lady probably talked about why it happened. Here also mentioned that also people were being harassed and why they should cover it. It also mentioned that in one of the surah, one of these verses here, and he said why they should mention because our men were treating women or whatever. So even if you go back and look at the context, you're completely right. She can give us a context. I think maybe not you, but I think in general people be like, man, people be saying, oh, wear the hijab. What does that say in the Quran? It clearly doesn't say hijab, but it clearly tell you to cover yourself.
Yeah, that's not my. But that's not my point.
And I think that lady,
Okay,
the lady I'm so talking about is talking about hijab specifically. I don't think she, like, do you like right? I'm so like, do you think she was talking about covering in general?
Yeah, I think she's talking about exactly the verse that Dauda is reading and referring to in the sense of harassment. I said SA in case you guys didn't get it. That's sexual harassment and rape that was happening at the time. I didn't say the words. I just wanted to like not say it, but it's.
Okay, so she wasn't talking about hijab specifically. She was talking about covering as a woman.
Yeah, like exactly, like the specifically with the veil, like because a lot of affluent women were dressing in a particular way, and so this was a way in order to protect, like other women from being targeted to be like raped and harassed, and so it was kind of like it was, and because it was happening a lot. By the men and things like that were there. So I don't want to go too much into detail in terms of what she said. I'll send you guys the video.
No,
and then what I want to do is not listen to just what she said. Where does she read what she read, right? My point is getting straight to like what is her source of where this is coming from. If this is coming from a hadith, I want to identify which one it is and read it for myself.
That's true. That's
I understand that this
it's
verse,
clearly in the Quran. Well, wait, it's clearly in the Quran.
I'm about to say,
like,
about to say that.
Two. Also,
I would the additional thing, like
I agree. That's what I'm saying. Listen, I'm not. I believe like we can read a verse right now, like the blower of knots. They give us a whole context of that, like the whole story. Yeah. You can't just know the whole story, which I completely agree. Again, this is not to. I think I'm also generalizing it. I agree with your point. But I think what me, Mo, and Lamin are saying, there's always a controversy about hijabs.
Yeah, I just don't want my point to be skewed.
It's not skewed at all.
For people who are watching, to make it seem like I'm saying that.
It's not going to be skewed at all.
I have a question for y'all, right?
Go ahead.
Like, I have a question for Numso, right?
Yeah.
Like, say you do cover, right? Say you do cover, right? What is like and this is not just speaking to you either, though. I'm not just, if y'all want to cut this out too, y'all could. But this is not just speaking to you, right? Say you cover, right? What is like a bad thing that can happen to you from covering? Like, if that makes sense. Like me, I always tell people, right? I'd rather you do what, like, you see what's in the Quran, right? And then you see what, like, the consequences of it is.
Like, and I'd rather you just try it. Like, I'm big on people trying, right? Because, like, say you try, like, what is it called? Covering your hair. Nothing's really going to happen to you in this, like, worldly life, to be honest. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to do. No, I'm not talking just you. I'm not saying you. I'm just saying you as in, like, general sensitive. I don't want you to take it personally.
I think specifically for a woman, it's a choice that she needs to make because it is a complete lifestyle.
No, it's not a choice though. Like, I know we have free will, but it's also a command. Like, I don't.
If right now if right now I like the people that don't do it.
What they
like if there's no choice, like for example, angels don't have a choice, right? That means you can't do otherwise.
I agree.
For the people that don't do it, that means that is their choice. That's what the word choice is.
I agree.
So what I'm saying is like, or even like to lie or to tell the truth. That's a choice. So if someone chooses to, not lie, not steal, not gamble, not like
choice, yes.
go out to the club and not do all these different. All of those are choices that we can all choose to do. And I agree. What's the worst that can happen if I decide not to go to the club? Yeah. Right. What I could choose, I could decide not to gamble.
Yep.
But but it's for people to make that decision for themselves of like, okay, you know what? I feel it in my heart where like I'm called, like I need to do whatever the effort is, and I agree with you but you come to that decision. Otherwise, every single thing that each and every one of us do that may be whatever vices or sins or whatever, like. We could have chosen not to do it, right? But in order for us to choose not to do it, you have to make it make sense to you and be like, make it a choice. You have to decide, I'm not going to do it,
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, because we're not perfect. We always partake in, simple stuff all the time.
That's why I said at least try. Like, my thing is always about trying, to be honest. Like, I would not fault no girl. You know how some people, they be like, oh, she's a fake Muslim. She covers here and there. She doesn't always cover. Like, bro. Like, she's trying her best. Like me, I don't fault nobody for trying.
Yeah,
I don't care if you, if you wear hijab today but don't wear it tomorrow. Like me, only Allah knows what He's gonna put in your mizan. Like I cannot, like you feel me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nobody can be the judge of anybody. But look, also like the video you're talking about, and I'm pretty sure you're right. But the thing also about it, the Quran is the word of God, so. God, like, you saying what happened, why God made this happen, like, whatever, like the context, like God sent this to the prophet, right? So, okay, so maybe something was happening at the time and God was like, okay, we need to make changes and send these verses. Is that what you kind of told? Maybe like,
Yeah, that was my question in the sense of, because how many verses do you read that people are like, oh no, this was because it was then. Like, I feel like people like, there are certain things that happen, and then it's like, oh no, this, it's because it was. I feel like we've talked about this before in previous things. Like, oh no, sometimes there are conflicts or there are things that happen in the life of the prophet, and then so God will send this in terms of like, here's how you can resolve it at the time. Whether it's even if it's not the changing of whatever, like if that's not the case, but I'm blanking on clear examples. But there are fact examples that I feel like you've even or people have even brought up in our discussions and conversations of how does that work in today's day and age, like especially when you get to like war related things or like battle related things or some of the things that are not necessarily like as soft, you get what I'm saying? So
no, I completely understand. And
wait, I want to know if they mention this in like the Torah or like the Bible. I feel like if it is, then it will be more like, I really want to know that, to be honest, other than just the Quran. Part? Like I said,
I definitely think so.
The covering part, I think it's mentioned, bro. Because I don't want to say this.
Yeah.
When we talk about covering and stuff, like in terms of, I definitely think being modest in general, right, is for sure. Like, I'm not disagreeing with that. Like the way that, you dress and all this other stuff, right? Same thing with, you said, I don't know if you said your calf as a man, like, or
certain things
like which I'm sure like people in the summertime have gone out and have not thought about that, right? And so but so I definitely think it's there because I mean you have nuns, you have like for example Orthodox Jews, the women, they wear wigs to cover their head, right? So it kind of just depends on but I feel like it's a thing, like it's a even when you get married, you get a veil, right?
So I'm looking at it, the Bible in Timothy 1 Timothy 2:9 and 10. The passage encouraged women to dress modestly, with decency and self-control, not with braid hair or gold or pearls or costly attire, but with good deeds appropriate for women who profess to worship God. And Peter also, he said, the verse emphasized the beauty should come from the inner self, the unfading beauty and a gentle and quiet spirit rather than the outward adornments. So it's like it's kind of like the same. This one even say not with braids, like, you know. So it's kind of like it kind of goes into the same somewhat with not with the braids. So I don't know. Maybe you can have a braid and cover it, but they have their own saying too, which is kind of like around the same thing.
Yeah, but we can. Yeah, we can move on and kind of wrap it up since it's getting late.
Of your iman, don't give in to shaitan. Oh, you who believe, please give thanks to Allah. Allahu Ghafoor, Allahu Rahim, Allahu yuhibbul muhsinin. Huwa khaliquna, huwa raziquna, wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. Allah is Ghafoor, Allah is Rahim, Allah is the one who loves the Muhsinin. He is our creator, He is our sustainer, and He is the one who has power over all. Give thanks to Allah for the